Must have been unconscious for a while. My head feels fuzzy, kind of like I'm swimming through darkness. When I came to, there was a woman standing there. A woman I don't know. At least I don't think I know her. And then there was a man with a gun. I don't know him either. Well, probably not anyway. Now, I'm not the type of guy who can just stand back and watch a poor woman get shot. But I have just one little problem. I'm already dead myself. This is how Ghost Trick Phantom Detective decides to open up its game, and it does an amazing job at establishing everything you need to know about this game, from its setting, its scenario, to literally everything in about 45 seconds flat. It's really impressive. While our main corpse over here is pondering how to help this mysterious lady in yellow, a voice calls out to him saying that there's no time to lolly around and we're the only ones who can save her before the world changes around us and we're brought to a place known as the Ghost World, also known as the Land of the Dead. With no time for proper introductions, the mysterious voice tells us that there's a way to save this lady, and they introduce us to what the gameplay of this game looks like. In the Ghost World, we control this blue flame, also known as our soul. We're also told of something called cores that reside inside objects and how we can move between these cores and possess these objects. The voice tells us that time will resume again in a bit and urges us to use the object we possess in order to help this little lady. We don't have much time to process this as time starts to flow again, as they say, and we end up using something known as a trick, causing the crossing gate we were possessing to move and knock the gun out of the guy's hand, giving the woman a chance to escape. Albeit for a short time, as she's immediately held at gunpoint again. What we ended up doing was using something known as the Power of the Dead, also known as a ghost trick, to help save this woman's life. We ended up doing the same thing, this time moving from the crossing gate to a guitar for a mysterious character saying that they would have liked to possess the giant wrecking ball nearby, but notably not being able to reach it, essentially telling us that there's a max limit to our reach between objects. We end up playing another trick, spooking the gunman, but the woman still doesn't get far enough away, and we're forced to look for something else to possess, with the only notable thing in our vicinity being our body. After all, if we can manipulate objects, then why not our own corpse? We end up trying it, but nothing happens. Our mysterious voice friend tells us that we can only control non-living things, and while technically not alive, corpses aren't just ordinary things. While still trying to process information, we remember about the woman still being in danger. We go to look, and how rude. Well, at least he's polite enough to do that. While mulling over the fact that we couldn't save the woman even with our new powers, we end up finally meeting face to face with our mysterious voice friend. He's a lamp. We end up crying to him about the fact that we couldn't save the woman as she still ended up as dead as before, but our lamp friend tells us that there's still something we can do to save her, as there's more he can teach us about her powers. Of course, we ask who he is, but he tells us that there's probably something more important that we should be doing, like saving this woman first. Even if she's already, dead. We end up agreeing to this not just because we're a gentleman, but realistically we don't have anything to lose from this, we're already dead ourselves. So with that, we go to investigate the woman's body, only to find that her corpse is different from ours. The biggest difference being that there's something emanating from our body that isn't emanating from the woman's. Our lamp friend tells us that it's because we're special, and how not everyone gets special powers when they die. He turns our attention back to the woman's case and asks us what would happen if we possessed a corpse. Of course, we answered nothing, because we already tried that and nothing happened. He agrees that we don't have the power to manipulate corpses, but tells us that there's still something else we can do with corpses. He then tells us to try it out for ourselves to see what happens. Not having anything else we can do, we end up possessing her corpse and we're met with another blue flame, which doesn't seem to respond no matter how many times we call out to it. Our lamp friend says that they're still unconscious, like how we were earlier, and it's probably best we leave her like this as we go to save their life. The way to do so? We travel back in time 4 minutes before their death to save her. Luckily, she only died recently, so we still have time to go back and save her. Despite not getting or believing any of this, we end up doing as he says and end up traveling back in time 4 minutes before her death to save her. In the land of 4 minutes ago, we start by watching back the victim's last 4 minutes of life, seeing everything that happens and picking up on anything that we could change. But since we were basically there the first time around, here's basically a Spark Notes of everything. Alright, now that we're all caught up on what happened, and we can finally get to the main aspect of this game, puzzling a way through to save people's lives. We're able to repeat these 4 minutes as many times as we want to eventually help us find a way to save these people's lives. With that, let's talk about the first puzzle of this game. As we've seen, every aspect of this case happens all the way up there. However, our gateway to the past is all the way down here where her corpse was. So our first order of operation is to find a way to get all the way back up there. The entire flow of this game is basically a puzzle with your environment. We hop from object to object and use our ghost tricks to interact with them. Sometimes these objects interact with other objects and create a sort of Rube Goldberg machine. Sometimes we just need to interact with an object to get around, and sometimes we need to interact with an object to move another object. Sometimes it's a question of what to move first. But the most important factor of this game that you have to remember is timing. Take this instance in the level, for example. If we interact with the fan, then the flag whips around with its rope. If the blender is on, then the rope gets caught in its spinning blades, causing the flag to raise. But if we don't possess the flag, then the flag will leave without us, meaning that we're stuck here. Luckily for us, the blender eventually stops and the flag falls back down, so we can actually get on the flag this time and continue forward. This is the first example of how timing is important to how a puzzle plays out, and the best part is, if you don't manage to get it the first time, or you didn't know, then the game will tell you. But you don't have to worry too much. When in the ghost world, time stands still, so that helps a lot when it comes to timing. After finally making it all the way back up, this time when everything plays out, we're in a new location. With new options available to us, we now use our ghost tricks one more time to startle the gunman in order to help the woman escape, changing her fate, albeit slightly, allowing her to get away yet again. This time, however, the woman's path is closed off due to the bridge being up, meaning that now she can't run away anymore and we need to find a more permanent solution to our problem. So after cycling our way closer to the scene of the crime and moving some things around, we now perform what we in the industry like to call a Chekhov's gun, and finally come up with a solution to this problem, for good. With the danger, Mr. Danger, finally taken care of, we finally managed to save this woman and avert her fate of dying in this junkyard. With that, we're sent back to our present time. Back in the present, it's raining as the stranger we just saved is shivering in the cold. On the topic of strangers, our main character comes to a horrifying realization. He doesn't remember anything. Not his name, not why he's here in this junkyard, not even why he was killed. In the middle of this shock, our lamb friend comes in to tell us that our story isn't over yet and how there's still much more to figure out. We decide that he should finally tell us his name, to which he replies with Ray, very clearly intending to keep any actual information to himself. When he brings up the fact that we haven't told our name either, we admit that we don't remember anything, which is apparently a common problem with the recently departed, but something Ray doesn't concern himself with since, apparently, all ghosts are fated to disappear as the sun rises. With this revelation, we ask Ray if it's possible to save ourselves, to which he says that we can. If we could, then he wouldn't be a lamp right now. With that bubble bursted, we settle with the idea of simply wanting to know what happened to us tonight before we disappear. To which Ray says that a good starting off point would be with the woman we just saved, since obviously she must know something about us. With our course of action solidified, we possess an umbrella to float down to our lady as she goes to investigate her body, when all of a sudden, the phone rings. Realizing that this is the same phone call the hitman answered to, we come to the conclusion that whoever's on the other side must be the mastermind who called to hit on us and the lady. Using another one of our powers of the dead, we managed to listen in on the phone call and find out who this mastermind is. Not only that, but we managed to trace where exactly he is, and are able to go and meet him ourselves by using the phone line as transport. Ray, however, says that he can't follow us because of the fact that he used most of his powers just to get here tonight. Ray tells us that there's going to be many mysteries tonight, and he asks us to get to the bottom of all of it and find the truth. We, of course, can't promise him that, because our main priority is just finding out who we are tonight. To which he says that's more than enough. He says that the two are one and the same. If we manage to find out who we are, then we can get to the bottom of this. And if we can get to the bottom of this, we can find out who we are. With that final message, we're off through the phone line to meet the mastermind ourselves. Then I ended up going over my allotted time in talking about this game. Yeah, this was supposed to be 5 minutes, and now it's about 11. About twice as long. Whoops. But, like, there's so much I love about this game that I wanted to show off. I liked the style, about how, like, it's 2D, but then it's also, like, it was 3D. It's, like, 3D, and then, like, everything was, like, either rotoscoped or motion capped and then made into 2D sprites. I liked the music that you heard all throughout this video. I selected the ones that played in this chapter, but it's just a small taste of all the music that exists throughout this entire game. And I guess my most favorite part, alongside, like, the puzzles and, like, the things, because things get more challenging and the puzzles are amazing, I also really love the characters as well. You've only seen like a small fraction of them, but every character here is memorable, and quite frankly, there's a lot to talk about each one of them. Like the Hitman, for example, nearsighted Django. You didn't even know his name was nearsighted Django, but he's nearsighted, and he doesn't get any glasses, and he has a golden shotgun because of the fact that he's nearsighted. Even he has a couple of lines that are incredibly funny. Even our target, the woman, even our main character, even Ray, everyone has amazing moments in this game. If you haven't checked this out already, then I recommend you check out the remastered that's currently available on all consoles and Steam. It's a great game. You're going to enjoy it. Just check it out, please. Thank you for listening.